Welcome to the woods. I want to talk about something that's important. That's going to be important for all of us moving forward. Something that we are going to need to bear in mind. I want to talk about the bizarre legal case against Sam Melia. Many of you would have heard of it. Some of you may not have. Before I talk about that case, there's a couple of other topics I'm going to touch on, which I think will put everything in context. So the first thing I just want to touch on, I'm only going to talk briefly about this, is the recent meeting in Davos. And this year's meeting was all about trust and how these individuals and organisations can gain the trust of populations. Because it would seem to be that a lot of people don't trust them. And what came out of that lengthy meeting in Davos was that they would need to control information that was available to the public. That there would be a system put in place that would label things misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Now, misinformation and disinformation is incorrect information. One is if it's given deliberately to mislead, and one is if it's a mistake but might mislead. But malinformation is truth that these people don't want the public to hear because it could harm them, because it goes against the narrative they want to spread, that they want people to believe. And malinformation is something you're going to hear a lot more of. The other thing I'm going to touch on briefly is the legal case that was recently brought against Lawrence Fox. Now, I'm not going to go into details of the case, but there was something that was said that I believe is completely wrong. The judge said that calling Lawrence Fox a racist would have no social impact, that it wouldn't affect him or his ability to go about his daily life. And the case was about name calling. Someone called him a racist and he called them a paedophile, and the judge basically said to be called a racist isn't an issue, but to be called a paedophile is. So he lost. And I think the judge was wrong. Utterly wrong. Because for decades now, the British public have been not just told that racism is the worst evil. It has seeped into the structure of our society. That it is the most awful thing. To the point that child molestation is seen as a lesser evil than being called racist. And this was borne out in the grooming gang scandal across this country, in town after town after town, where thousands of young white English girls were groomed, raped, trafficked, molested, tortured, and this was allowed to proceed because the people in authority that should have been protecting those girls didn't want to be called racist. The molestation of children was allowed to continue because of the fear of being called racist. Because the perpetrators of that crime were mostly Pakistani males. And this goes completely against what that judge said in Lawrence Fox's case, that to be called a racist doesn't matter. It has no social impact. And both of those things I've just highlighted, the malinformation and how important it is for the elites or those people in power to control the narrative and the information people get, even if it's the truth, and the fact that being called a racist is seen as probably one of the most heinous crimes has a bearing on this bizarre case of Sam Melia. And I'm a simple guy. I live a simple life. I'm talking to you sat in the middle of a wood. So I'm going to use broad brushstrokes to talk about this case in a language that I'm capable of and hopefully you understand. Sam was arrested for putting up stickers or for producing stickers. He was charged with inciting racial hatred and racially aggravated criminal damage. That's what he's been charged with. We'll take that first charge. You would think then that the content of the stickers Sam produced would have been illegal, would have been inflammatory. No. It was pointed out by the prosecution and the judge that the content of the stickers was lawful. There was nothing on them that broke the law. It was pointed out by the judge to the jury that the fact that some of these statements were factual and true had no bearing. The stickers Sam produced had statements like, "It's okay to be white." "Reject white guilt." "Nationalism is nurture." "Pubs closed, borders open." Nothing in the stickers was illegal. Many of the statements were truthful and factual. This case is bizarre. How can you be convicted when you haven't done anything that was illegal? And that's how it would seem. It looks as if it really is a case of a thought crime. And certainly one of malinformation. Insofar as the information may have been correct, it may have been truthful, but it's an inconvenient truth that some people may find offensive. That's unfortunate, but surely not illegal. And I think this case hinges on intent. What was Sam's intention in producing these stickers? Well, Sam himself stated on his webpage that it was to start conversations and raise awareness of issues that he thought were important. There was no intent to stir up hatred. He was very careful to ensure that nothing on those stickers broke the law. This has been acknowledged, and yet he's still been convicted. He's been convicted because they say he intended to stir up hatred. Nothing he did broke the law. Nothing on those stickers broke the law. But his intention. So you would think that they would have to at least have some evidence to prove his intention. There was no phone calls to the police about these stickers. There were no complaints made by people saying that they had been offended. There was no reports of crimes that had been committed by people who had seen these stickers and gone out and done something stupid. Nothing. Literally nothing. And yet, when they went through Sam's devices, his phone, his computers, his laptop, they found message after message of him saying that these stickers were intended to raise awareness and start conversations about important issues. That they should not be used in areas where they're likely to cause offence. So there's proof that he was trying not to offend people. There's proof that he was trying to stay within the law. No proof of people being offended, of hatred being stirred up. None. But because some of those stickers discussed ethnicity or race, it is deemed in this country today that regardless if the statement spoken or written is truthful or factual, when it's a discussion about ethnicity or race and you're advocating for whites, you must be in the wrong. That's how ingrained that ideology has become. That you can no longer speak the truth in this country. Sam is a father, a self-employed businessman. He's got a young child on the way. He's got a baby on the way. He was trying to raise awareness of issues affecting this country that he thought were important. And he was meticulous in making sure that the information stayed within the law, and yet still the system finds against him. It would seem that in this country today you can advocate for any other ethnicity. Black Lives Matter. The MOBO Awards, the music of black origin. The Association of Black Police Officers. The Association of Asian Shopkeepers. All of these groups where people advocate for their own ethnic group are fine. Personally, I think that's fine as well. But I'm of an ethnic group. And what this case is saying to me is that I don't matter. That if anybody or me tries to advocate for my ethnic group, then it's a crime. And that can't stand. Especially if you can be convicted for telling the truth. Malinformation. Truth that they don't want people to know. We are at a point in this country where telling the truth can land you in prison. Please, be careful moving forward, making statements of fact that are truthful may still get you into a lot of trouble. Somewhere along the line, we went terribly, terribly wrong. We live under a system that, to be quite frank, seems to hate us. I'll try and put a link in the description to information about Sam's case. But think on that. Truthful, factual, but convicted because they believe his intention. There was no proof. They believe his intention was to cause hatred. Regardless of the proof that is there that That was exactly the opposite of what he wanted to do. Have a good day, folks, but think long and hard about that. Telling the truth, factual information that they don't want the public to know, could get you in trouble. Speak to you later.